Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 6, 2014. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers, posted on public bulletin boards and the Township website.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask everyone to please turn off all of your cell phones and roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Mumolo.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Here.
Vice President Fosman.
Here.
President Leidecker.
Here.
Thank you.
Will everyone please stand for the salute to the flag and our moment of silence? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone, thank you. Please take your seat. We have a very special presentation, again this month, that's near and dear to my heart. Every time we have a sporting team that achieves an award or goes to state finals or what have you, we always have them in to recognize. And as council president, I took the liberty of setting it up with my council secretary, having our students of the month come in because they work very diligently throughout the month and throughout the year to earn this honor. And I'm going to come down to the podium and award these certificates. And if any of the council members wish to join me.
I do.
I'm just going to move this over so when parents take pictures, they get the nice plaque in the back.
Oh, we're all going?
Okay. Tonight we're going to start with Brick Memorial High School Students of the Month for October 2014. And if we can please have Naomi Henderson, Olivia DeSico, Kristen Smith, and Tyler Gonzalez up to the front, please. Thank you all for joining us this evening. There are 8 from this high school. They do 2 from every class, but we are lucky enough to have these 4 in attendance with us this evening. And the certificate of achievement reads, awarded on November 25th, 2014, in honor of your being named Student of the Month for Brick Memorial High School for the month of October 2014, and in recognition of your outstanding efforts to be the best student you can be. So another round of applause, please. Oh, did we have another student from Brick Memorial join us? Okay, and Kristen Smith. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, and Naomi. Thank you very much. Good job. And if the parents want to come up and take pictures, you are more than welcome. Thank you. Turn around. Let all your parents get a picture. We got them for the press. Everyone in church should recognize you.
You're gonna be famous, right? Not now, so.
Okay. From Brick Township High School, Student of the Month for October 2014. 9th grade, we have Kaylee Hoffman. 10th grade, Kyle Nelowicki. If I say your name wrong, please correct me. Sean Smith and Odalis Molina. And again, your certificate reads, awarded on November 25th, 2014, in honor of your being named Student of the Month for Brick Township High School for the month of October 2014, and in recognition of your outstanding efforts for the best student you can be. Thank you. Another round of applause.
Hey, Ed, it's a little warm in here.
Not less than 60. You changed it already?
Must be having a hot flash.
Get your own private somewhere.
Comma. And not more than 60 days.
Everyone's leaving. Everyone's leaving. Huh?
I think it's hot.
You'll read that into the record? Okay, awesome.
Everybody's leaving.
Well, second reading is.
Thank you,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Same to you. It does get real exciting if you want to hang around.
He's lying.
All right, we'll hold you to that.
All right.
Okay.
So cute.
We'll give everyone a moment to move along before we begin the consent agenda.
It's good Red Bull, too. That's what I have to say.
It's like 80% of the people left.
They were here to see me. Don't kid yourself.
Give or take a few points there. Okay, moving along to the consent agenda. All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council members, is there an item you'd like to remove? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on. Number 1, recognize Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. We've recognized a few different illnesses, and unfortunately, this is a terrible one as well that we'd like to educate the community on. And our resolution states, Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month helps to raise awareness and encourage progress in the fight against this often deadly disease. It is the 4th leading cause of cancer death for both men and women in the United States. And it's estimated in 2014 that 73% of patients will die within the first year of being diagnosed. It's projected to surpass breast and colon cancer to become the 2nd leading cause of cancer death in the United States by 2020. So we ask that you join us and the mayor in educating yourselves and your community and recognizing that this terrible cancer is becoming a plight for many families in the United States. Resolution 2, recognize Greenbrier 1 Veterans Ceremony. I understand that our mayor and a few of our council members were able to attend a very lovely ceremony that was held at Greenbrier yesterday, and I'm sure the mayor will discuss it in his council comments. So briefly, we would like to recognize the veterans and the ceremony that they held in Greenbrier 1 to celebrate the veterans that live in their community. Resolution 3, authorize budget appropriation transfers. This one is for $108,100, and it is being transferred to code enforcement, the prosecutor, solid waste, vehicle maintenance. What happens is sometimes I see a few new faces, so I'll give a brief explanation. Sometimes a few accounts fall short and some fall over what they need. So we can transfer the money between accounts to keep our budget balanced. Resolution 4, authorize amendment to Brick Beach 3 concessionaire fee 2014. We are returning the sum of $5,150 to the vendor, Toscano, who had his vending at Brick Beach 3. Unfortunately, due to Hurricane Sandy, Many of you know that he was not able to have use of the parking lot. The revetment project is going on, and he was not able to make the same amount of profit that he was in previous years. So to be fair to this contract, we are giving him a little bit of his money back. Resolution 5, authorize participation in the municipality's continuing disclosure cooperation initiative. I'm going to ask our business administrator to address this, please.
Thank you, Council President. This also authorizes the town to participate in what's called the municipality's continuing disclosure cooperation initiative, where an audit of our borrowings will be reviewed. The audit looks at discrepancies between the actions of a debt issuer, which in this case is the township, and the issuer's continuing disclosure agreement. This is known as secondary market disclosure, which is a report issued to potential investors whenever we borrow money. The Security and Exchange Commission granted amnesty for any municipality that finds discrepancies and self-reports those by December the 1st. So it's worth it for the township to show the SEC that we're in compliant and following the guidelines.
And it's my understanding that Acacia, who we work with now, will be conducting the audit.
That is correct.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the council on this? Thank you very much. Resolution 6, authorize award of bid, police pursuit vehicles. As you know, on the previous agenda, we went out to bid for 7 of the 2014 Dodge Charger police pursuit vehicles. This bid has been awarded to Bayer of Morristown LLC, doing business as Bayer CDJR, in the amount of $26,957 per vehicle, for a total of $188,699. This bid includes a 3-year or 36,000-mile basic limited warranty and a 5-year to 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty for each vehicle. And we should be getting the vehicles about 45 days after January 1st. So that puts us into February, March, that we should receive those vehicles. Resolution 7, authorize NJPA purchase for 2 2015 Ford Super Duty trucks. This is through the National Joint Powers Alliance. And this lets us go through different ways of contracting to find the best price that we can on the things that we need to purchase. It is awarded to National Auto Fleet Group of Watsonville, California, in the amount of $152,104. As many of you may be aware, DPW was not funded for quite some time in the past. And when a few of our council members came on, including our current mayor, we decided that it is a good department, as well as our police department, to invest in, because they help us keep our community safe and clean. And we'll probably be seeing a few of these for the next few years to get our fleet up and running and make them efficient for our township. Resolution 8, authorize change order number 1 final, Lanes Mill roadway and drainage project. The change represents based on as-built quantities and the addition of hand supplemental items to successfully complete the project. And the contract to all-surface asphalt paving will be increased by $8,357.74. When they were excavating, they realized that a massive pipe broke in the drainage system, so there was some modifications in the design that needed to be changed. We also needed to add a few other items. We needed uniform traffic directors, 24-inch concrete piping, more concrete vertical curb, sub-pump material, revised drainage plan. So it was kind of extensive, the changes that needed to be made upon excavation of the project. Resolution 9, authorize change order number 2 final, Traders Cove Marina and Park Landscaping and Site Amenities Project. The contract to Down to Earth Landscaping will be increased by $5,100. And this is for 2 ADA picnic tables. The picnic tables were $2,550 each. Resolution 10, authorize donation of surplus property to Lakewood Township. We have a few very old computers that our township is no longer using. So we are just donating them to the Township of Lakewood, and they can put them to good use. Resolution 11, authorize rejection of bids for police motorcycles. Resolution 12, authorize rejection of proposals for the administration of affordable housing program. Resolution 13, authorize execution of shared service agreement with the BTMUA for computer programming support services. Our MUA needs some computer processing work done. It is work that we can do in-house, and since we have a shared service agreement, we are providing that service to them. They will reimburse the township for the services provided from the MUA, and the term of the shared service agreement shall be from December 31st, subject to automatic renewal on an annual basis, unless either party provides written notice of non-renewal, which is at least 60 days prior to the expiration date. Resolution 14, establishing rates for special duty assignments for police officers. Sometimes we see a patrol car parked on the side of the road when people are putting in a sidewalk or a curb, or there's road work being done, projects like that. What we're doing, these rates are already set, but what we are doing, which has been recommended from the police chief as well as the business administrator, is to add a $10 per hour surcharge to the already established rates to be retained by the township to cover administration costs, including but not limited to workman's comp, social security, billing and collections, and liability insurance. Resolution 15, recognize the strength of local pension funding in regards to recommendations from Governor Chris Christie's Pension and Health Benefit Study Commission. Mayor, would you like to address this, please?
Thank you, Council President. Everybody reads in the paper or hears on the radio or TV that the pension system at the state level hasn't been funded in years, going back many governors. But what everybody doesn't realize is that the local ones, they're funded. So here in Brick, for over a decade, we funded our employer contributions 100%. The state has a problem. They're only funded at between 48 and 50% in their two pension systems, which is a big-time problem. But the commission, the Pension and Health Benefits Commission, is coming up with an idea that, hey, let's make everybody, all the municipalities, part of the state pension system, because we're all funded, and they want to fix their problem by using our money. So with this resolution, if it is passed, it's urging them not to do that, come up with their own plan, leave us alone at the municipal level. We fund our pensions, we're responsible. At the state level, you're the irresponsible ones who haven't funded it in many, many years. So hopefully you guys will pass the resolution or support. Thanks.
Thank you. Resolution 16, authorize appointment to the township, the Tourist Development Commission. Costas Kaifas is now appointed to the Township Council, by the Township Council, I'm sorry, to fill Rob Counselor's unexpired term on the Tourist Development Commission for a term expiring on December 31st, 2015. Resolution 17, authorize Class 1 officers to attend Ocean County Police Academy. There's a number of applicants that will be and are appointed to approve, that we are going to approve to attend the academy. There's a training hourly rate of $7.25 beginning December 1st through December 23rd, 2014. Resolution 18, authorize special events permit for Harbor Freight. They have applied for a special event permit to conduct a parking lot sale on November 28th, 29th, 30th of 2014 between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. November 30th, I would like to make a correction to this, because on November 30th is actually from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and I would like that to be notated in this resolution since that's what they applied for. Does any council member take issue with that?
No.
No. Thank you very much. And I'd like to ask the clerk if she believes that because 2 of the days do start at 6 a.m. I know it is a relatively quiet event. It's 2 or 3 pop-up tents where they put merchandise out in the parking lot in the designated area. Do you believe that they would need a waiver of the noise ordinance for this?
I wouldn't recommend a noise waiver for this event because it is in close proximity to homes, and so I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Resolution 19, bond releases and reductions. A, New Singular Wireless, PCS LLC, has posted a Safeco insurance bond in the amount of $7,071 and a cash performance bond of $707.10. They have completed all of their required improvements, and they are found to be acceptable, so we are returning the applicant his inspection fees at final invoicing. B, Tahishi LLC posted a bond in the amount of $74,035.64 and a cash performance bond for $37,017.93. All of the required improvements are completed and are acceptable, and we will be returning their money as well. C, QSR Development LLC posted a selected insurance company bond for $87,206 and a cash performance bond of $9,689.73. All of their work is complete and found acceptable. We'll be returning their money. Lastly, D, there is $416.12 remaining in the engineering inspection fund from 211 DPR Realty for Stepping Stone Preschool. The Assistant Township Engineer said that all of the required improvements have been completed, so we will be returning the money to the applicant. Resolution 20, Tax Collector, A, 100% DAV has been granted for 10 Royal Drive for $1,655.47. B, Senior Citizen deductions have been granted for 2014 to 398 Flora Court, $250. C, the veterans deductions or widow of veterans deductions have been granted and refunds are to be issued for multiple properties, all in the amount of $250. 235 Emerald Drive, 707 Pine Drive, 143 Duchess Lane, 89 Vassar Lane, 6 Maria Court, 60 Breeze Court, 609 Sunshine Court, 540 Rhode Island Avenue, and 641 Knollwood Terrace. D, overpayments for the year 2013 and 14 on 775 South Drive. The total amount is $7,153.26. E, there are overpayments for the year 2014 on 652 Hillside Avenue for $336.29. F, overpayments for the year 2011, 12, and 13 on 92 Brick Boulevard. The total amount is $18,582.62. G, overpayments for 2014 at 334 Bay Lane, the amount of $5,126.97. This is the end of our consent agenda. Can I have a motion and a second?
Council President, if I may,
Yes.
just before you have a motion and a second, there is one recommended change, Resolution 4-17. This is the resolution appointing candidates for police officers, the special police officers. The fourth candidate on the resolution is no longer qualified and should be removed from the list. It's the fourth one down in your resolution. So I would recommend that that resolution be moved, but with that modification.
Okay. So we do have two modifications on two separate resolutions we'll be voting on this evening. 17, we are removing the fourth name down on the resolution, and on the Harbor Freight special event, we're going to change the hours for November 30th from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So when you vote on those two resolutions on the consent agenda, that's what you will be voting on. Does council wish to discuss these changes? Thank you very much. Motion and second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Moore, seconded by Councilwoman DeYoung. And I'm going to open to public for questions on the resolutions. Yes, Mr. Gross.
Richard Gross, 29 Greenboro Boulevard. I want to question number 6.
Yes.
This company that has given us the lowest price on the police vehicles is up in Morristown.
Yes.
And we have a 36-month warranty, and they're going to service it up there. Is that correct?
Is that where the vehicles will be serviced?
No. It's serviced at any dealership will
I'm
service.
sorry?
Any dealership will service the vehicles.
We'll service it here.
Warranty
Will
work.
be able to be serviced here?
Oh,
Correct,
sure.
yes.
Warranty work is covered by,
That was the main thing I was
by
concerned
Dodge.
with.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Foster?
Sam Foster, 108 Eagle Drive. 2 points. First of all, Mr. Gross said, I have a question about that too. I actually raised a question about that. The police pursuit vehicles, they're going to be Dodges, right?
Yes?
Yes.
We have a Dodge dealership in Burke Township, don't we? On Route 70?
But they didn't place a bid.
I didn't put a bid in, okay. Yeah, so, okay. That's one thing. And the other question I had was on item number, the police motorcycles, 11. Rejection of bids. What is the status of the motorcycles that we obtained years ago? We did have a motorcycle squad. They were very active years ago, back in, I think in the 1990s or something like that. Because when I used to live in Evergreen Woods, I saw them a lot. Do we have them? Or are they too?
We do have motorcycles in our fleet. They are not used to patrol the streets
So they're just, why are they not used to patrol anymore?
because we use cars to patrol the streets.
But we obtained the motorcycles in the past for specific reason of saving gas, because they're better mileage on from motorcycles than police cruisers, so.
I don't think they'd be able to be used year-round, so you'd have to use a
Well,
car
yeah, the
year-round
winter time,
anyway.
yeah, naturally, yeah, but, I mean, like in the summer. Because, the whole purpose of obtaining them years ago, it was emphasized by the council at that time that it would save on mileage.
It
because of
would
the
save
gas.
on mileage, but how
gas
could you
mileage.
arrest somebody and, you can't really throw them on the back of the bike?
Yeah, but then why obtain them to begin with then? I mean, it's just.
Well, that was then, and this is
Okay.
now, and we're not obtaining
So
them
does
now.
this mean you're not going to be getting any, you're going to do away with the motorcycle squad, or?
No, there's not a motorcycle squad to speak of that I'm aware of. These were used for different purposes, and
Well-
we thought that this money would be allocated better in a different area of their budget.
Well, when it says authorized rejection of bids, does that mean you're not going to be bidding? You're not going to be,
That means we're not buying them, we're rejecting the bid.
okay, so it's just, what we have is going to be kept and that's it, and they're not going to be added to?
That's not what I said.
Well,
What I
trying
said
to-
right now, we are not going to be buying motorcycles at this time. It has
Oh.
nothing to do with extending the fleet. As a matter of fact, at the last council meeting, it was noted that one motorcycle would be traded in for $4,000, I believe it was, to be used towards the purchase. But the council decided to go in a different direction with that capital money.
Okay, all right. Like I said, it just makes no sense to obtain them in all these years, divert police onto the patrols if it's just going to be, dissolved later on, or just done away with, or downplayed, down, whatever. All right.
Thank you. Any other residents wish to be heard this evening? Yes, Mr. Slunka. It's rare we hear from you on resolutions.
This is my resolution in a roundabout way. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court, Evergreen Woods. On number 8, it sounds like it's going to cost Brick taxpayers more money in order to be able to do this. Isn't that what I'm getting out of that?
$8,357.74.
Okay, the houses in Evergreen Woods and around that whole neighborhood have been shaking for 2.5 years from
Sir,
the
if
construction.
it's not-
Is this thing any way related to the construction of the parkway?
I don't think
Wh-
so. This is a
why
very
wouldn't it
old
be?
pipe, and it's a change in
It's
the
Route
design.
70.
Well,
It's
if
not by
piping-
that area.
My question is, if it's piping, wouldn't the piping break, just like our houses are breaking in the foundations and stuff like
I
that?
don't think that this is in conjunction with that. I
What?
don't think it's the same reasoning. This has been an ongoing project. I mean, if our
Right,
business
but
administrator would like to address this,
when
it's
did,
a change in the design
when
and
did the
added.
pipe- I thought it was
Sir,
because
can I
of
please
pipe
finish
breaking.
my statement?
Got it.
This is for paying for a change in the design and added materials. They happen to have found that a large pipe was cracked, but it's been that way for quite some time from what I'm reading here. And this is not even for that pipe. They had to change the design and increase the contract quantity for the pipe length, curb root construction, modifications to the drainage inlet. Uniform traffic directors, because the project went a little longer than they thought, 1 day longer. It
And
doesn't
none-
have to do
none
with
of
the
this happened
Parkway
because of the
project.
2.5
No,
years of
I do not
construction
believe so.
on the parkway?
But if that was the case, then that would be every pipe on that road, sir.
Of course, and it may be. Look what happened to the parkway the other day when,
Okay, I
when we had a
don't-
sinkhole, same way, right?
We could speak with the township engineer, but
You
I
know,
don't think that
I would
the
think
two
it
are
should be
related.
investigated before we put out money. because
Mr.
it's fair enough
Saluka,
to
it
put
was
out-
investigated, the pipe is eroded, as many pipes do underground, it's a very old pipe, so for us to pursue that this occurred for any other reason than what naturally occurs to
Just
very old
age.
pipes underground, don't make any time or sense for our employees to go out and investigate it further. We investigated, our engineer was at the site, it's erosion. Erosion is very
erosion.
typical
Well-
for a very old pipe, and we're satisfied
Okay.
with that result.
As long as that's
Thank
the
you.
case, I didn't have a problem. It was just that I thought it was a lot of money to be putting out for something that may have been caused by something, like I said, like the Parkway sinkhole the other day. It didn't happen for the same type of reason, you know.
I do
Okay, thank you.
understand your concerns, though. Thank you. Mr. Scott?
George Scott, 16 Queen Anne. A couple of quick questions. The one regarding your authorization and the municipality continuing disclosure. I did read it. I spoke briefly to Mr. Pizarros. The fact that you're going to use your financial consultant with this, is that what you said, the way I understood it? I asked Mr. Pizarros, page 2, section 2, about what this was going to cost. That's always my initial reaction. He said it would be about $5,000 a year, because...
That is a different number that I received, and I'll have our business administrator adjust that when you're finished with your comment, Mr. Scott.
Okay. My question, in a roundabout way, was going to be, why would we have to assume this? You do have a financial consultant. They knew about this. We didn't do this. The disclosure should have been brought forward. And when you read this, it says it's only going to 2009. That's what the amnesty is. But talking to Mr. Pizarros, if something wasn't disclosed in 2000, it's really going to go back that far because we roll our bonds over. So it's not for a 5-year period. It could be for a very extensive period. The $5,000 in the realm of things is a lot of money. But if you're extending the period and it's going forward, I think the financial advisor has some fiduciary responsibility, and we should look into that $5,000 expenditure. And that was a roundabout figure
Okay.
that he gave me, so I don't know exactly what it's going to cost.
Was this the only resolution you had a question on?
That was one of them.
Okay. We'll address everything at the end, if you don't mind. That way you can have your full 5 minutes.
I'm not
Oh.
giving statements. This
Okay.
is about the resolutions we're talking
Okay.
about. Okay. The other one was, and I see the chief here, where you're just changing the administration fee. Previously, we had a $10 cost of patrol vehicle. Prior administrations, there wasn't a lot of transparency like there is now. This particular chief makes himself available, but it says that that fee of the $10 could be waived if it's considered an extra car. Do you know if we waive that, or?
I don't handle that myself, so I would not have the answer to that
Okay, I'll
question,
ask
but
the
we
chief.
can
I
get
will
that
ask the
answer
chief
for
directly.
you.
That's not a problem. And 412, where you rejected the proposal for the administration of affordable housing. How did you even go out for that? You know, it costs money. You have to advertise, specs have to be prepared, purchasing agents involved. Why didn't we realize that before we did this? And how much money did we waste?
I'm going to let the business administrator address both questions of the resolutions.
I'm ready.
All right, Mr. Scott, so in terms of the first question, the invoice or the purchase order that we opened for Acacia to do this particular year's report was $2,000. So I'm not sure where the $5,000 comes in or what in context he was responding to, but
Okay.
Acacia was paid $2,000 to do this year's report. Whatever we may need or opt to do in future years, the council will decide if they want to proceed, and we'll have to address any issues that they come up with in the audit as they evolve. But we are the issuers, so it is incumbent upon us to self-report. They want us to take a look at our financials. And it really looks more at the underwriters. So
Correct.
that's really what
this.
this whole process is focusing on, the underwriters. So,
That's why I thought that, you know, the money should have been charged to them, more to them than to us.
right, and we may address things differently in the future. This is the first year we're doing it. This is the first time we were made aware that we would need to do it, and the option came to us to self-report, to self-audit and report by December 1st. We felt it was incumbent upon us to spend the $2,000 to do that. So going forward, we'll look at how to best model it so that we're recouping the money from whoever we should be recouping it from appropriately.
Fair enough.
So that answers that first question. The second question about the waiving the fees, The chief indicated to me through a nod that that has occurred. How often it's occurred or under what basis is under his discretion as opposed to the council. So maybe offline you could speak to him about what that process is.
And I will.
And the third point, the affordable housing, we knew we were in a contract, but we also had gotten some feedback or some thoughts that we hadn't at all really looked at what else was out there. This was a very specialized field when we first entered into using our Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and there were very few players in the game that could administer them the way a township of our size would need. Well, that has changed significantly over the past 5 years. There are a lot more firms and consultants that have taken this on as their specialty. So we thought it would be a good practice for us to see what else was out there, who else was out there, what skill set they had, and what prices they charged, to make sure that we were being as diligent as possible with our contract, with the financial piece of it, and more importantly, the delivery of service. So yes, there was a cost in terms of advertising and preparing bid specs, and our purchasing agent's time for that, and then the time for the internal review committee of employees that looked at the packages and interviewed the candidates. But I feel that that cost was well worth it for us to be able to say with certainty that we were in a contract that we are satisfied with.
But you were in a contract that you couldn't get out of according to this resolution. So it was really money not well spent because you couldn't have got out of it anyhow. That's what it says here that our township council said.
That's not entirely correct. What it is it's a 4-year contract with an automatic renewal each year.
Of May 7th, correct.
Right, with a right of termination. So there is a right to not renew that if the council chose to go in that direction. But there's also, it is a pending contract that will renew for up to 4 years.
Well, that's not true either.
3 years? Maybe 3 years.
It can be renewed unless you give a 90-day notice.
Correct.
So therefore, everything that Joanne had said, and looking to save money, and a lot of new players out there, I find that very commendable. However, we should have given the notice 90 days prior to May 7th if that was the thinking. So again, with that said, and it's already too late for that, if we're gonna do this again next year, you have to make sure that we give this notice by February 1st so that we can legitimately go out and get other prices, make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck. That's what I wanna make, known to the council, make sure we don't make this mistake again. Because it was
I don't consider it a mistake, but I think you're right, because we do have that right now to not renew. So I don't think it was a mistake. I think it's knowing there's a contract in place, keeping that contract in place until and unless you get someone else you think will be an improvement for the township. And we went through the exercise and determined that the person we have in place is doing a good job. So I think that exercise was worthwhile to pursue under the circumstances, and we do have a right to get out if we wanted to.
Thank you. We have a
Thank you.
difference of opinion for that one. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to be heard on the consent agenda itself? Seeing none, I'm going to close public, and roll call, please.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo?
No to 4-9 and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Pontorero?
Yes.
Vice President Fosman?
Abstain on 413 and yes to the rest.
President Leidecker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution number 21, Bill Resolution, Computer 2014.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $1,513,578.85.
Thank you. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pontorero, seconded by Councilman Mumalo. And I will ask council, do you have any questions on the computer bill resolution? Seeing none, I will open to public for computer bill resolution 2014. Seeing none, I'll close public and ask for roll call, please.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Abstain on New Jersey press media and yes to the rest.
Councilman Mumalo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero?
Yes.
Vice President Fosman?
Abstain on the MUA and yes to the rest.
President Leidecker?
Yes. Thank you. Resolution 22, Bill Resolution, Manual 2014.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,441,375.67.
Thank you. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pontorero, seconded by Councilwoman DeYoung. Questions from our council? I'm going to open to public. Seeing nothing from public, I will close and ask for roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Abstain. Township payroll, yes to the rest.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes. Okay, we are moving on to number 5 on our agenda, ordinances on first reading. There is no public hearing on ordinances on the first reading, but you are more than welcome to get in touch with either respective office, council, or administration to ask any questions that you may have or get more information. Of course, you're always invited back to the next meeting to be heard publicly for your questions and concerns. Number 1, create Chapter 277 Mercantile License.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the Township Code to create a new Chapter 277 to be entitled Mercantile Licensing.
Thank you, and I'm going to read the purpose directly from the sheet. The purpose of this chapter is to require the licensing of any person, firm, corporation, partnership, or any other entity engaging in, conducting, owning, or operating any business within the limits of the Brick Township. The information provided through this licensing program will enable the township to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and businesses in Brick by having information about each business, including the type of business and contact information on file with the township clerk. We had a few instances in our township where there were problems around businesses or something that happened inside a business, and we were not able to get in touch with anybody after hours. That really exacerbated the situation. To have somebody like the manager or the owner's name, telephone number, that we can contact them directly and let them know there's a problem before the problem becomes worse, will be a valuable tool in protecting our community and our businesses. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pontorero, seconded by Councilwoman DeYoung. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes. Thank you. Ordinance number 2, authorize the acquisition of certain interests in real property by negotiating or eminent domain.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of certain interests in real properties by negotiation or eminent domain, said properties being identified on the annexed schedule.
Thank you, and I'm going to ask our township attorney to give us our explanation.
Thank you, Council President. As most people know, as a result of Superstorm Sandy and the problems caused by that up on the ocean front, the New Jersey DEP and the Army Corps of Engineers are undertaking 2 projects to hopefully minimize any impact of future hurricanes. There's a revetment project, which is the placement of the steel wall, and a replenishment project, which is putting additional sand and dunes there for further protection. An ordinance was passed last year to allow the state and the federal government to take properties, easements on properties, for the purposes of those projects. And I know that they are both, the federal and the state are trying to negotiate with landowners, but because these projects have to be done, if we cannot reach agreement with landowners, this ordinance will authorize the township, the state, and federal government to take properties that are needed to compensate the homeowners for the property that is taken for purposes of the revetment and the replenishment project. The reason we have another ordinance this year, and the last ordinance was, I think, in October of last year, is because there were a few properties that were determined in the past year that we'd need easements on, and they just weren't included in last year's ordinance. So those are being included in this ordinance. And as I said, negotiations and discussions are ongoing with most of the homeowners, but this is necessary because the project needs to move forward. an ordinance is necessary from the township to enable those takings, if necessary, to occur.
Thank you. Motion and second?
Make a-
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman DeYoung, seconded by Councilman Fosman. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes. Thank you. Number 6, ordinances on second reading. There will be a portion of time set aside for ordinance 1 and 2 for the public to come up and speak about the ordinances we will be voting on. Number 1, create Chapter 340, registration and maintenance of properties pending foreclosures.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, creating Chapter 340 of the Township Code entitled Registration and Maintenance of Properties Pending Foreclosure.
Thank you. I will give a brief explanation, and I do believe that there is a small amendment that will not force it to go back to first reading, which we'll address after we read off the purpose. The intent of this ordinance is to provide for the registration by a creditor of properties in foreclosure and to require foreclosing creditors to be responsible for the care, maintenance, security, and upkeep of the exterior of vacant and abandoned properties pending foreclosure. This is something that our state adopted into law, and if and when we pass this ordinance, we'll be able to enforce it in Brick. I'm sure many of you may have a foreclosed home in your community or a vacant home that's falling to pieces, and we can only do so much through our property maintenance board and hold people, accountable for keeping the property safe and secure. So when a bank files motions to foreclose, they now become the responsible party that we can contact as an authority to make them fix the property. Mr. Starkey, would you like to talk about the amendment?
I would, thank you. There is a proposed section 340-4, and what this addresses is violations by creditors. And in practice, what it would be is banks who have properties in foreclosure and the properties are vacant and abandoned have the obligation to maintain those properties. The time frame right now that they are required to address those is not less than 30 days from the date they receive written notice. So when a bank receives written notice from the township to undertake fixing properties, they have not less than 30 days to do it. We thought it would be wise to insert a not to exceed date. So I'm going to recommend that section 340-4, where it says, this is after written notice, shall provide for a period of not less than 30 days from the creditor's receipt of the notice for the creditor to remedy the violation, that be amended to read, shall provide for a period of not less than 30 days, but not to exceed 60 days from the creditor's receipt of the notice for the creditor to remedy the violation. What that does is it gives the bank a period of at least 30 days, but no more than 60 to remedy it. So we can make sure, to keep an eye on these and make sure they're remedied in a timely fashion. And if they are not, the later parts of the ordinance provide for penalties to be assessed against the lenders.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. As everybody knows, the mortgage companies played fast and loose for years. There was these balloon mortgages. There was no money down, no income verification, all these different types of mortgages. A lot of people got in over their head, unfortunately, and they had to walk away from their houses. And so people walked away from their houses, and the banks still own them, and they don't take care of them. They don't forget about not mowing the lawn, not trimming the bushes. There's gutters falling down off of these things. There's broken windows. Our township workers have to go out there and board these places up. It should be the responsibility of the banks. They're the ones who own it. They're the ones who caused this situation years ago by giving out those mortgages, and they should be responsible for having to maintain them, as opposed to our township workers, our DPW guys, our parks guys going out there and doing the little things and the big things in order to make these places safe. So, thank you.
Thank you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Motion and second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pontorero, seconded by everyone else. We'll go with Councilwoman Zapsik this time. I wish the original motion was that easy, to be honest with you. First, I'm going to open to council for any questions or comments they may have, especially about the addition. I think it was explained rather clearly.
I just want to say one thing about it, Madam President. I'm very happy to see the time limit not to exceed 60 days. I thank the Township Council for adding that provision because it gives us some security of we're going to get it done within this period of time and not leave it open-ended. So I thank Mr. Starkey for that inclusion. I agree with that amendment.
Thank you. To be fair, it was our business administrator's idea.
That's true.
Thank you, Joanne Bergen.
At this time, I'll open to public. Mr. Scott?
Mr. Scott gets some credit for the idea as well.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
And I will take credit for that. Because, upon reading this, there was going to be no teeth in it. As Mr. Starkey said, there are penalties involved, and I briefly tried to speak to two council people before the meeting and tried to explain my position. One response was, well, we got to get started and let's just put it through. And I said, well, why not put it through the right way instead of just putting it through? I'm glad that after speaking with Joanne, and people say you can't fight City Hall, but there really wasn't a fight here. It was just a suggestion, which she talked to the mayor, and I'm really appreciative that the mayor jumped on board and Mr. Starkey added it, because without having a time frame, it was going to be right back to, as the mayor said, the banks just do what they want to do. Now it's going to cost them $1,500 a day every day after that 60 days. It's going to motivate them. One of the other things that I would like to have seen, and I'll agree with Mr. Mamolo here, at the beginning it just says it only includes the exterior. I wanted it to include interior, but again,
Yeah.
we have to start someplace.
There
So,
are
you know,
legal reasons for that, which I will have the attorney explain when you're finished with your comment.
You know, but it's a step in the right direction, because there are a lot of houses. I have one right near me, 5.5 years, nothing happens. What's incredulous about this is if you have a vacant house as a personal owner, you don't live there for 6 months, you can't get insurance. You have a fire or something in that house, that insurance company can decide they don't want to pay you. It's a vacant house. Banks, on the other hand, the house near me had a fire a year ago. They collected under the insurance policy. Not fair. It's, you know, I mean, they get away with it. So I'm glad to see this happen. I'm glad we have some teeth, and I'm glad you put some time limits in it. Thank you.
We did have council members that brought up the same suggestion that you had, and we discussed it thoroughly at the Land Use Committee, why it could only be the exterior and not the interior at this time. Would you please address that?
I agree with you. I think this is a step in the right direction. There's two reasons. One is we're bound by state law to how far we can go. And second, these homes are still privately owned. And to gain entrance into a private home, you need to have a warrant or some reason to enter. That doesn't mean the construction official can't, if he is aware of an imminent hazard inside of a house, that he can't issue a notice of violation for that. But we're at the moment restricted to exterior repairs and maintenance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Scott said something about the vacant homes with insurance. There is insurance policies for vacant homes. I'm not quite sure whether the banks get them or not, but there are policies out there. And it's a high premium because they know the houses are vacant. So it's possible that might be the circumstance where the bank got paid on that house.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Foster.
No.
Not public comments, just on the ordinance on second reading. Mr. Cancel?
Jim Cancel. I read in the paper about this ordinance, and it took my interest because I'm asking the township to fashion some ordinances to help with crime.
Mr. Cancel, is this comment directly
I'm going
related
there.
to this
This is
ordinance?
this.
Okay.
Please be patient.
I need you to get to the point of this ordinance, though.
That's exactly where I'm going.
Thank you.
So, what I want to know, because I'm relating it to what I'm asking, is how long did it take to enact this ordinance?
First reading, 2 weeks, 3
No, I
weeks,
mean,
second reading,
in
and then
the
20
works,
days.
I guess when you got to go from the state, all right, it came into law. How long, what was the discussion? How long did it take to really get this thing and put it together?
Mr. Cancel, can I say this legislation became effective in August by the state. So that's when municipalities around the state were authorized to enact this ordinance.
So from August till
I'd say in the
put
context
this
of
thing
government.
together?
But it
pretty
does
quick.
have to go through committee before it can be brought to council, so that took about a month and a half to get that process done.
Okay, that's pretty fast. All said and
We
done.
think so.
Okay. What was the compelling interest?
The state
Besides
passed the
Sandy, I
law.
understand Sandy, people walking away from their homes, but was there a lot of complaints about homes in the
Yeah.
township and
Yes.
people bothered by?
If there were
And also
complaints
the
or
state
no.
legislation.
Hmm?
Also, the state
you.
legislation is allowing us to
No,
go
I
this
get that,
far.
but for Brick itself, what compelled this committee here to take this up and go with it?
May I just
Because we
respond
have
briefly,
many
Madam
foreclosed-
President?
yes, please.
This was raised in the Senior Advisory Committee first, as an ongoing problem that had been existing for years and was addressed by numerous other citizens and brought to our attention. So it has been in the works for a good deal of time. I know where you're going with it.
You know where I'm going.
I know exactly where you're
You know
going with
exactly
it.
where I'm going.
And that's where-
Yes.
Let me-
Yes,
Let me
please allow me to finish
I'm
just
sorry.
just on your general question. Yes, we started this when the citizens brought it to our attention. How long each individual ordinance takes to draft and clear varies. So there is no clear cut, it sounds like a wormy attorney answer, but there really isn't a clear cut time frame for it. It's a matter of looking at what other municipalities have, comparing and contrasting, and then coming up with something that fits right for Brick, and then passing it through the committee, and then through our township attorney. So it could vary,
I'm not being critical, don't
Oh, no.
mistake me for being critical. I'm just trying to get a reference in my mind.
right?
So, the other thing I want to ask, any chance you want to exercise eminent domain for Maple Leaf Park?
We can't answer that at this
I'm
time.
sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, the fines I read were very steep, $1,500, they were pretty steep. I also read 20% of that goes to code enforcement, is designated to go to code enforcement. That's what I read of the law was, am I correct?
They're the people doing the job, yes.
So, do you anticipate a bump for code enforcement through this?
We don't know. We can't answer that question.
There's 500 buildings listed in the Brick Times said there's 500 buildings.
Right, but if,
So you haven't discussed that potential of revenue for code enforcement?
no.
No, that's not even coming into the thinking of the committee?
When we pass ordinances to protect our community, we don't think it in terms of how much will we reap passing this ordinance. Frankly, we have no idea, because we don't know how the banks are going to react to this. So how can we possibly put any financial dollar figure on something that we can't anticipate the actions of others on?
Well, that's kind of interesting, because if I was looking at it from your perspective, I would have to say how much of our time is going to be used up doing this, and how many officers and,
But that's
things
not what
that-
you asked.
That is,
No,
I
you
mean-
asked what will we reap financially, not have we considered how much it will take for the township to enforce this
you kind of
ordinance.
directed it your way, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, that I don't know if you think I'm suspicious, like, hey, this guy's thinking we're going to try and make, I'm not that.
Okay.
you're-
Do you have a question or comment about this ordinance?
This is what I think, I've asked questions about it.
Okay.
So you don't expect, you haven't considered that there would be any kind of revenue coming in because of this?
I'm sure that they will, but it depends on how the banks react and how they care for the properties, and if they are going to be subject to these fines. That's our answer. If you want a dollar figure, no, we can't give that answer.
Okay.
And if I may just add something, the fines are designed to be prohibitive, so that people don't want to violate this and pay these big fines. That's why they're high. So do we want an increased revenue from it? We're hoping that people follow the law. Follow the law, and you won't get hit with a fine. But we've been hearing about the abandoned properties from many, many citizens for a good deal of time. So it took a while to address it, but it needed to be addressed because so many citizens had this complaint.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Mr. Scott, come on up.
Just to answer one of the questions that this gentleman had. As you know, I'm pretty active within the township.
Yes.
And when it comes to issues like this, I agree with Councilwoman Pontivero. We'd rather that they don't pay anything. We'd like them to step forward right from the beginning, register the house. Don't leave yourself open to a $2,500 a day fine. fix it immediately. We don't want your $1,500. We don't want residents to have to call the town to say this is wrong and that's wrong. If they, were responsible enough from the beginning, we wouldn't care about the money. We don't want it as, a revenue-producing thing. The other question, he said, what motivated you to do this? I know personally, and Joanne came later on, but our construction official, Dan Newman downstairs, has been trying to get something to actually move that we could do something like this. Until the state passed this, we didn't have the ability to do it. As Mr. Starkey said, they only passed this in August. For it to happen this quickly, I'm pretty surprised and grateful for it. So, I just hope he understands that this just didn't happen overnight. People within Town Hall have been trying to get this done for a while, and until this came forward from the state, your hands were really tied. So hopefully it's going to be able to move things in the right direction.
We hope so.
I hope that enlightens the situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to add, last week was down in Atlantic City for the League of Municipalities Convention, and I actually, on the last day, attended a session on this very topic. And as many people know, New Jersey is ground zero for the mortgage foreclosure crisis in this country. So I learned a lot of very valuable information. We are well ahead of the curve in a lot of New Jersey municipalities in enacting the legislation like this that we need to. With regard to your question, Mr. Scott, about the interior, I don't know if you saw me nodding vigorously, but I had the same concern. I talked with Dan Newman about that. I also had an opportunity to speak with the presenter after the class last week and asked her if we could, I understand that we don't have the authority to enter the home, but through legislation, could we require the banks or the maintenance companies hired by the banks to conduct periodic internal investigations of the properties? And she said that it's possible, something we would need to discuss with Mr. Starkey, but she also advised that we move this and get it on the books and then go back and tinker with it. The other issue that we may need to look into is that the banks have gotten very good at flipping these properties, trading tax sale certificates, et cetera, so it makes them very difficult to track down. But there is some technology available for us to be able to, if we wanted to get involved with that. And I would think that with these fines, once we get them, it would certainly offset any costs that we have in. But there are services available where they will hunt down the banks and follow the paper trail so that those costs wouldn't have to be borne by our employees.
Thank you. Yes, sir, in the front.
My name is Steve Silabredo. I live at 117 Waterfront Drive, Brighton, New Jersey. I'll make this as a comedy. I love the ordinance that you made, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here. We have 6 units that are together there on one floor. One of them has been abandoned for 4 years, and we had an influx of mice in every unit. I went to the principal, the president of the Winding River, and explained to her what was going on. She didn't do anything. I called the Board of Health from the county. They came up. They made her bring the exterminator in. Now, in World War II, I'm a World War II soldier, in the Normandy invasion, we had training and landmines. My house is a landmine. I have mouse traps all over the place and poison all over the place. I'm waiting and hoping this winter that mice don't come back again. This way I can clean up that booby trap that I have for the mice. And this is a great, great ordinance that you people, and I hope it passes. I know it will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other members of the public that would like to be heard? Seeing none, I'll close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes, particularly in light of the amendments.
Vice President Fosman.
Well, 1 second. I have a ruling from the attorney. We have a council member that has a family member working in the land use department. Shouldn't they abstain on 5152 and 61? Since it's all land use?
If you ask me now, I would say if these...
that a conflict?
If they don't, these ordinances affect land use in the township, not personnel that work in the land use department. So my first reaction is I think there would not be conflict, but maybe if you want to talk after the meeting, give me some additional information, maybe I can look into that more.
When fees are involved? No?
I say, my gut reaction, just with the facts you presented to me, is that there's not a conflict, but like I said, if you want to talk afterwards, I'd be happy to look further into it.
Thank you. Yes.
President Leidecker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, amend Chapter 393, special events.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 393 of the Township Code entitled Special Events.
Thank you, and I'm going to read from the ordinance the amendments that we added. Section 393-1B, any event that contains any of the following elements shall be considered a special event that requires a permit. 1, multiple events taking place in a single venue. 2, more than 50 people expected to attend. 3, live entertainment with amplified music. C, a block party shall be exempt from the requirement to obtain a special events permit under this section unless the block party will have live entertainment with amplified music or will be open to the public at large, which will require a special event permit. All block parties will continue to require special permits under Chapter 288-30.1 of this Township Code. Section 393-2.1, fee for special event application. An application fee of $100 shall be submitted at the time of the special event permit application is filed with the Township Clerk. For recurring events, the application fee shall be $250 for up to 4 special events in any 3-month period at a single location. If any recurring event issued a permit under this section expands or changes beyond the scope of the original application, requiring an additional review by the Township, then an additional application fee may be charged to cover the cost of additional reviews. The application fee established herein shall be waived for any Brick Township governmental entity, including BTMUA, the Board of Education, and the Housing Authority. Penalties for noncompliance, Section 393-9. Any person or entity who fails to comply with the terms of this chapter, including the failure to obtain a permit for a special event, shall be liable for a fine in an amount up to $2,000. The Township additionally shall have the authority to terminate the special event and/or issue an appropriate notice of violation for the failure to comply with the terms of this chapter. The persons with authority to enforce this Chapter 393 shall be the Chief of Police, the Fire Inspector, and the construction official or the respective designees. Motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pomperero, seconded by Councilwoman Zapsik. Any questions from our council? Yes.
I just want to make clear that under this ordinance, the MUA, the Board of Ed, and the Housing Authority, they still have to get their permit for the special event, but their fee is just waived, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. Any others? Okay, I will open to public.
Madam President, you do have a question by our mayor.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that we talked about it on the last ordinance, that there was no teeth, perhaps, and then we had the fines in there. This was another special events permit that we didn't have teeth in before. We actually had somebody this summer who blatantly said, I'm not getting a special events permit. And so we looked up to see what the penalty clause was, and there was none. So this 393-9 obviously takes care of that, in addition to all the other changes, which makes life easier on everybody.
Yes.
So, thanks.
Thank you. 2 excellent points made. Thank you. Public comment on special events. Seeing none, I'll close and roll call, please.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Yes.
Councilman Momolo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero?
Yes.
Vice President Fosman?
Yes.
President Leidecker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, number 7. Public comments. Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B. Again, we do have a time clock. Please be mindful of your time. If you are in the middle of making a statement, we will let you finish the statement, but please do so quickly. Mr. Foster?
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. Quick comment, I'll make this quick. Mayor Ducey, I saw Mr. Tiverton in ShopRite. He said to remind you, you lost the bet. He said you'd know what he meant. No. He told me to tell you. I have a quick question for you about I wanted to revisit the thing about the motorcycle squad.
Yes.
Your quick point is that I thought that when the motorcycles were obtained years ago, it was initially a good idea if it had been used properly, but like I said, it kind of tapered off and was used and wasn't. And I agree about the fuel cost, it would have saved us money, but I've noted you got a concern about what happens if the police have to make an arrest. What they do in other towns like New York, Philadelphia, Atlantic City, this patrol officer makes the arrest, whoever it is. Then if they can't transport the prisoner, then what they do is they call us for a squad car in the area. So that's the way that would happen. And I would hope that as long as the unit is used properly, I think it would be a good idea because it would save on fuel costs. And I think we should concentrate on getting more police on the streets because an increased police patrol is one of the ways that have been recognized to reduce crime. And I think that would help with our crime problem in town and also the heroin problem also. Third highest heroin usage rate. I'm tired. Heroin usage rate in Ocean County. And I know that New York City Mayor Giuliani, when he took over in the 90s, he put more police on the street, and there was a big reduction in crime. So I'm just suggesting that's all. And I wanted to ask you also about the written newspaper. I apologize, I haven't been able to make the meetings for a lot of reasons, so I don't know if this has been addressed before in a prior one, but the lead in the water supply, I don't know if this is proper here or at the MUA, but I'm going to ask this. Can citizens, if we take a sample of water and bring it to the MUA, does the MUA have testing facilities there? So
I believe that the proper venue would be addressed at the MUA. They just had their meeting last night, but I will ask Mr. Council Vice President Bosman to address if he's familiar.
I can answer.
Yes, Ms. Bergen.
They do have a testing facility there at the site.
They do? They do have testing facilities?
Yes, they do.
Are citizens allowed to bring in water samples?
I would suggest you contact the MUA and ask them tomorrow morning.
Okay, all right.
I'll give you a phone number if you find that helpful.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And one other question was about the Food Town site. I drove past here and there's a lot of concrete block, barriers, I guess you could call them. What is going on at the site there? Is there anything going on there, anything planned there? Or is it just?
Route 70 is being expanded. There's a contractor out there. If you don't drive home that way, if you go home that way, because I'm sure it'll be a lot of lane closures, and they're allowed to use that as our storage. We wrote that into the RFP so that they didn't have to pay for storage somewhere else and then charge the town. So we said use that.
Okay, I was wondering, 'cause when I drove past, there's a lot of them out there. It looked like it was staggered in like a pattern, so I didn't know if they're doing the construction there or what. But I wanted to ask you about that because I was a little bit worried about that. And also I had a comment about the buy and brick program. I picked up some forms and I'm a little bit disappointed in it because doesn't seem to be a lot of stores that have signed up, at least now. I don't know, there wasn't a heck of a lot of them. And what is the situation as far as how, if more stores are going to be added to it?
Mr. Foster, if you wait for public comment or council comment, I'm going to read off the list of all of the towns. I believe we're almost up to 50.
Can you put that up on the website, Township
It is.
website? It is up on the website?
Yep, it's on the Buy and Brick website.
Okay, good. And let me see, just want to make sure I got it.
And it's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Please like it.
Yeah, there's all sorts of new vendors, Blaine's Jewelry Box, so anybody out there who needs to get Christmas presents.
Okay, thank you.
For
And,
me.
Hint, hint.
the final thing I want to ask you was, I thought I heard that our agreement with Tom's River, the shared services agreement, had expired.
Yes,
Is that true? It
sometime
has?
ago.
Are we going to be redoing that again, or are we just going to leave it, let it expire, keep it expired?
It
You mean-
expired last.
Yeah, expired
January
January
1st.
1st.
January
Do you have any
They
trouble?
were not able to meet the needs, so the shared service agreement would not be amicable for either party.
Do you know how much the township saved in money-wise as far as
It
the?
cost us money.
Yes.
did, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom's River came out ahead of it then, huh?
Yes, they certainly did.
Okay. Well, no sense in asking you to renew it then, if that's the story. Thank you.
Thank
Oh, and I want
you.
to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott?
Make it quick so I can get out early tonight. First of all, on a personal note, the Philadelphia Marathon was this last weekend. I had 2 sons, a daughter, 2 daughter-in-laws, and a granddaughter run.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You didn't
My
you
son
didn't
did
run?
the whole one in 3 hours and 54 minutes. So Brian,
Nice.
lots of luck to you.
No?
I did it in an hour. I was strictly a spectator. Yeah, and for everybody that watches out there and everybody that attends these meetings, tonight was really a good night. Some things got moved forward in a very short period of time. We all put our minds to it, come to agreement. It works for the benefit of the township, the taxpayers, the residents, win-win for everybody. With that said, I said I was going to keep it short. Want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. I am not going to make the December 9th meeting, so I'm going to wish you all a Merry Christmas because the next meeting is, I think, December the 30th.
30th.
So have a happy and a healthy holiday. For those that can, Thanksgiving, truly to be thankful. If you have a neighbor in need, you can help them in any small way. If they don't have dinner, try to invite them over, take them to the store. Because of Sunday, I missed giving out baskets at the Elks, which I do every year. So if anybody can, no matter how little it is, I'm sure it doesn't go unappreciated. So happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same to you. Mr. Slunka?
I'll read my email that I think everybody has, so hopefully you'll just hear me. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court, Brick Township. Mayor John Ducey, Council President Susan Lydecker, and all the council members of Brick Township. It has been almost 2.5 years now since the NJTA started destroying the environment of the Garden State Parkway in Brick Township. Since that time, Superstorm Sandy hit the shore and destroyed many of the houses in Brick, and Brick Township's administration helped most, if not all, of the residents recover from that devastation. Since that time, the NJTA has cut down hundreds of thousands of trees, destroying the sleep of hundreds of residents surrounding the Garden State Parkway. Since that time, the NJTA, along with county engineers, built a bridge on Burn Tavern Road that caused a temporary hazard to the pedestrians and long delays that drivers traveling that route. Since that time, the council has asked the NJTA and the county engineers to come before Brick residents and explain how a temporary 4-year construction of the entrances and exits of the parkway and high-volume, high-speed expansion of the parkway shoulders has improved the lives of Brick residents. But they were pretty much ignored. Since that time, 30 months ago, the town lawyer at the time said they were writing letters to NJTA to stop harming the citizens of the area, but eventually the town lawyer admitted to a conflict of interest and had to put it in somebody else's hands. Since that time, a new town council and mayor was elected, and another letter was written, and an NJTA basically scoffed at us all. They ignored the plight of the residents. Since that time, the renewed BMAC was created and members assigned to help with drug abuse in the area, and the council mayor found ways to create an ordinance to help it grow even better and bigger than it was before. Since that time, citizens have begged the township to do something about the noise, fumes, and toxins from the Garden State Parkway, but little has happened to show for it. Since that time, the high school band has complained about the residents that don't like the noise, so the town council set an ordinance to help the bands play whenever they want, or whenever they could, within reason, obviously. Since that time, week after week, the residents are waking from Garden State Parkway noise like they were again last week. Houses shaking, noise and fumes flying over the lack of trees, and the council can't seem to help that group, or it doesn't seem to be, of this abused citizenry. Since that time, the plight of the people concerning drugs and other problems in certain areas of Brick, such as Maple Leaf, have been brought to the attention of the council, and the council has committees formed and are working on it. Since that time, the Brick Council said they would work with the state to help impact citizens of Evergreen Woods by using some of the known net loss funds to plant trees to help some of the to take care of some of the health benefits, problems associated with the toxins falling on the children at bus stops and the people also living in the area. The state attorney said no for some reason, and what happened was, even though the destruction of tens of thousands of trees impacted the lives and well-being of these particular residents, they were basically told, plant your trees somewhere else. Since that time, a new council member was added and then re-elected, and many things have moved forward in Brick Township, except that the houses in Evergreen Woods still shake at night. The Garden State Parkway traffic noise, smells, and pollutants are still flowing onto the residents. Since that time, the residents still have diesel exhaust trucks fly by their homes, exposing their children to traffic dangers and air pollution, harming their lungs daily. Since that time, the big government agency does exactly what it wants to, who it wants, and the mayor and council just seem to have no power against this powerful organization. Since that time, you, along with the rest of us, have noticed that the colds last longer, your throats are drier, choking more often, and their chest hurt. People tell me this all the time. The congestion lingers and lingers. And the people are eventually being killed by these toxins. Since that time, and just like the tobacco industry told people years ago, cigarettes cause no harm, the people at NJTA say the same thing. Since that time, NJTA wanted to let trucks travel north of 105, and this was stopped by allowing the diesel pollutant vehicles to go in that direction. But here in Brick, the council lacks the strength in order to be able to beat this big government agency from ruining the life of thousands of residents and basically killing us all. Thank you. I'll give you back 6 seconds.
Mr. Slunka, could you just hold on a moment?
I could handle it from the seat.
Well, I am going to ask our business administrator to address one point that you made. We are sympathetic to your plight. Of course we are. Your
I didn't say
citizens
you
in our
weren't.
community that are suffering, but your letter has a tone that would maybe imply otherwise. We have taken many steps, as many as we could, to help you and the other residents. You're right, we have very little power. We're not the state, we're not the Turnpike Authority, we are Brick Township. That's not our domain. And you know this, we had committees, meetings, multiple letters, our mayor has made phone calls, our business administrator. Some problems are easier to address, like crime and fixing other issues, but that's because that happens within Brick Township. Those are things we have control over. And I just want to put that out there because there are things that you said in the letter that would maybe imply otherwise to people that are not as educated on the issue that you're facing in your neighborhood. Could you please address what's going on with the no net loss grant and the planting of the trees?
We very much wanted to try to help the community by planting those trees there. That was in fact at the heart of our application for that grant, was to be able to plant trees in this area knowing the construction that you were facing. So it was always our intent. It was what we drove to do. We advocated for that. We pushed it with the funder, and the mayor continued to push it with the funder when we weren't hearing back definitively, and it took the Attorney General to chime in and say, no, you cannot use that. You cannot use those funds to plant trees there. It's not township-owned property. And they would not allow us an access agreement to do it. We offered an alternative after that. They insisted on an easement, which is not feasible. It's not something that we can do. Take ownership of that stretch of property and maintain those trees in perpetuity is beyond our ability as a township to manage. I've gone to Woodbridge to the NJTPA meetings at the request of the mayor. The mayor has made several phone calls and issued several letters, several very strongly worded letters that you have gotten copies of. And so we have advocated for you in every way possible. what I guess I'm echoing Council President's comments are that, we're often asked to advocate and rally and support. Lots of folks on 35 are asking us to help them talk to the state about issues that they're having with sidewalks and bulkheads and other things. And if it's within reason and something our residents need, the mayor immediately rallies to provide that advocacy and support. But that doesn't mean he can change state guidelines or federal guidelines or parameters of funding applications. So I think we have all been not only sympathetic, but certainly active in lobbying and advocating for what it is that you want and need within our powers to do so. I hope that's a satisfactory answer.
Thank you very much.
Well, again, I did not say you haven't tried to do something. I did not say you were not sympathetic. I did say you were unsuccessful, and that's the truth, obviously.
That is the truth.
Also, I would think in a town of 75,000 people, there's a chance that actually if somebody may call the governor and the governor came down here, 75,000 people may actually have some impact. Maybe not, but again, we don't know if that's been done. I don't know if it's been done. I have not received any copies of whatever you were talking about, that letter.
Get you those tomorrow on email if you'd like.
Well, I obviously didn't have that. And I don't disagree with you. I think maybe you are trying. I'm sure everybody's sympathetic. Nobody wants their residents killed. Nobody wants their residents choking to death every day. Nobody wants that. Not me, not anybody else. If it's for me, I couldn't. One person, big deal. I'll die tomorrow. Guess what? You won't have to worry about it. But that's not the issue. The issue is we have what the Parkway's basically doing, destroying lives of people in the middle of the night. Call the police. The police say, call the Parkway. We call the Parkway. The Parkway says, okay, we'll talk about it. We have a noise ordinance in Brick that can't be enforced, obviously, because it's not in Brick territory. I don't know what it is. It's a road that runs through Brick, creates noise, havoc, and destruction of houses, lives, and families, and hurts property values, as you know, because many of the people in that area got the county to agree that the house values went down over the last 2 years. And yeah, I got a couple $100 back. Big deal. I only did it. I didn't want to do it. I only did it to prove that the values have gone down since that day, to show everybody that was true. I wasn't lying to people. I'm not standing before you week after week after week, and for the next 3 years, in order just to hear myself talk. I'm here because you want to hear a problem, you want to hear a situation. Yes, let's fix it. If we have to work together, if we need the governor, I can't imagine why a governor of a state of New Jersey would not at least talk to our mayor, or whoever it is representatives are. NJTA, they listen to nobody. They're appointed people who make a lot of money, who have powerful things, like construction companies, like a union leadership. That's who's on that committee. You're not going to get them to change, obviously. You've got to get somebody to make them change. That's the only way it works. Otherwise, it's not going to work. The people in that area for 2.5 years now have been begging, and that's what I wrote in the letter. They're begging for help. And yes, you've tried and stuff like this, but it needs to be done daily. And that's why I send you the letters ahead of time. And so I don't get up here and surprise you and make you look like, like a jerk can make somebody look for a particular moment on the TV screen. I'm not here for that. I give you my letters. I don't put my letters to anybody else except for you people. And there's times when I make suggestions, I only put in yours, and I tell you I only put it in yours because I don't want people hearing what I'm saying on the outside because it's really not their business. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gross?
I have a major concern. I believe the mayor and council have done everything within their power and within their right to help those people at Evergreen Woods. It appears to me this gentleman is talking about 75,000 people. There's only 3 people from Evergreen Woods that come down here and complain. They have an association. I haven't seen them. They have other people. There's 700 families there. Where are they? There's talk constantly about people getting sick. I'd like to see proof of it. I'd like to see a doctor or a hospital report showing that that's the problem of the Turnpike Authority. At the last time I spoke about this, I suggested that they maybe should hire an attorney. You had mentioned, Madam President, as well as that young lady before, said it's very expensive. And I said, yes, it is. However, if you got 700 families that are willing to contribute without mentioning money, just that they're willing to contribute, you could get a lawyer. Nobody knows what a lawyer will charge, but if the lawyer knows that there's 700 families interested, I assure you, a lawyer would pay attention. I'm upset over the fact that this has been going on for years. We're hearing the same thing. The council and the mayor have done whatever is in their power to do. We cannot ask the governor to come down here to represent 775,000 people. No, that's not within your ability to do. I'd like to see an end of it. I'd like to see proof of all these letters, proof. And then I would get up and yell and scream as has been done in the past. That being said and done, I'm up here primarily to wish you all, everybody here, a happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy it and be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, sir. Ms. Call?
Good evening. And Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard, and now I'm upset. It's too bad that Mr. Gross or anyone else doesn't like to hear Mr. Sluka mention these problems. And Mr. Sluka has admitted that he understands that you're all sympathetic and that you are all trying. But unfortunately, we also know that the squeaky wheel gets attention. And if he continues, sooner or later, maybe somebody like Mr. Gross perhaps will write to the governor or someone else and say, come down. There has been an impact on more than just that one development. Coming here tonight, as I do any time I go anywhere almost, I have to go over that overpass. It's dangerous. It was bad enough for a pedestrian to attempt to go from one side of Lanes Mill to the other in the past because it was a very narrow walkway. Now it's virtually non-existent. It's got all these trucks. It's got increased traffic on it. So I do feel that Mr. Sluka has a right to come and complain, whether I agree with some of it or not. That said, also, an attorney, Mr. Gross knows that that falls on to the people, and they can never recover the costs of the attorney. He should advocate that that shouldn't be so, that if you win your case, the loser picks up all of the expenses, and not the way the law currently is. And it's something I've advocated for years in cases of community associations and what they do. I'll get you the proof of the abuses that the Assembly Task Force found. That said, what I really would like to say to you tonight, I consider you all my friends, and I'd like you to join my 4-H club. It's no membership fees, no dues, no meetings. It's just happy, 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 happy. Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's. And with that, I wish you all a good night and pleasant dreams.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Cancel? Did you want to come up? I saw your hand earlier. Okay. Sir, would you like to come up?
Steve Brill, Evergreen Woods. Where to start? I have lots of letters, which I can bring in, to all the governor, the congressman, the state senators, local authorities.
Sir, could you address me,
county,
please? Address the council, please.
The county, anybody you want. I have those letters. Now, as for this council doing everything that it says it could do, no. perform a sound study at Evergreen Woods, at other places impacted by this Turnpike Authority widening, as East Brunswick has done. And East Brunswick has negotiated a sound wall. They have passed a resolution. I've given all that information to the mayor. What more can we do? What would you like us to do? We've gone to the Turnpike. We've requested a meeting with the county. We've been to the county. What do you want us to do? Get our own lawyer? We're paying for lawyers. We're paying for your lawyers. We're paying for Evergreen Woods lawyers. How much more can we spend individually for our protection?
That wasn't our suggestion, sir. That was a suggestion made by a member of the public.
It's all right, I answered his suggestion, because I've heard that in my ear several times when I was sitting in the audience, while he's protected on the planning board with the township attorney.
We're not going to be derogatory.
Oh, no, it's not. It's a fact, because he said that, and he won the case. So, it's up to you. You're my representatives. I'd like to have this solved. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Spector, please come up.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? I'm Michelle Spector, Evergreen Woods. I actually have a couple of requests. I'm trying to get the 2004 stormwater rules and regulations from the DEP, and I got a return on the request, and they said that, yes, I can get copies, but the documents are missing. So I don't understand it either. Yes, it's exactly what it said. I can send you that, and if I will send you exactly what it's called, and if the mayor or the administrator could please send an open request asking for the same thing, I'll give you exactly what to do, and maybe you'll have better luck than me. I don't know. Also, I wanted to ask the mayor, in the March 15, 2012 meeting in Breck, you had mentioned something about a woman that said something about, in the footnotes, it said the shoulder is part of the highway. Were you able to find out what document that was?
I don't have that she brought it with her, and it was a binder. It was their regulations, and it was just a footnote that said it right in the regulations that she brought.
It was NJTA, so we know.
Yeah, it was their policy, because that's what they kept on referring
it's
to.
in the
Their
footnote.
policy says that they only do sound studies and sound studies when they're expanding the lanes, and that's what the guy kept on saying up there. But then she had the written policy with her that said, in addition, a parkway expansion includes shoulders. It says it in the footnote. It doesn't say it up top, and it's up at the top.
Footnotes are very important.
And the footnote says includes shoulders.
So it's got, so.
But it's in the regulations themselves, which
So maybe we could get.
she was from Birchwood Park, and that's all I know. I don't know who she
So maybe
she
we
was.
could maybe get a hard copy from the Turnpike Authority of the rules and regulations. Maybe it's in the footnotes and it's not online. Because sometimes things are in the hard copy and they don't put all that, they just put everything down. Okay, so we'll try that. Okay, thank you. And also, as far as the basins go, I did a little research and I found out that who is on the Stormwater Management Regulations Basin Committee are 3 large contracting firms that got large contracts with this widening. So there's a huge, I could send you that too, there's a huge conflict of interest within who's making the policies whereby all these things are being constructed. So I could send you all this information also. I'm still digging. I'm still trying to find out, I'm still trying to hold everybody to account. I don't accept the Turnpike Authority has no responsibility in this. They'll just point fingers at the DEP. Everybody, they're both responsible. It's almost like a comedy of errors. Not very funny, but it's a comedy of errors. So I guess that's all I have for this evening. So I'll send you all that information. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Mr. Cancel.
Jim Cancel, Maple Leaf Park. Really, first, I want to thank you for your efforts. There's been an impact. I thank you for calling me and let me know the cameras were up, Mr. Mamulo. I really do. I talk with code enforcement. People are going in there, registering their rental properties. Just, I'm encouraged, and I talk with some other people that are encouraged. You got the association's attention pretty good. I got a letter on November 8th. I'll just read it. Dear unit owner, foremost I want to thank all unit owners that had an open mind. It's kind of a weird greeting. And supported the association over the past 3 years in allowing board managers to plan a course for Maple Leaf Association. I know that they've gone and started to tell people themselves, hey, this is serious. So, like the Apostle Paul said concerning people who preach Jesus, whether in pretense or in truth, I rejoice that Jesus is preached. Whether in pretense or in truth, I rejoice that the board is doing something. But I want to share a few bulletin points because I really want to know where you're at with this because it's just a start. I was reading because I spend every morning reading. I spend a lot of time on my lunch breaks reading. Broken windows, different things. The LA City Attorney Civil Gang Abatement. Now, that's a gang abatement, but I want to share with you some bullet points. When civil gang abatement, we can call it drug abatement, anything you want, is coordinated with other government community-based efforts as described in broken windows theory, crime is not only reduced, but the neighborhood's quality of life is visibly improved, and a mechanism remains to ensure that it's continued improvement. That's not done yet, but I hope we're on the way to that. I trust we're on the way to that. The open distribution of the warning revitalizes community support and mobilizes the residents to further support the efforts of law enforcement. As well, and more striking, can be lawful intimidation of the target criminal activity, or in this case, for us, rental properties, drug dealing, and underground rental. I hope that somehow you can put something in the paper. I got a letter from code enforcement, which I bless God for, that they're really trying. They sent me a letter. Paul said that I run in a way to obtain. I think there's still a better way to obtain. We can run the race, but you want to run it to win. And this is good. But a little thing I noticed when I went downstairs, the code enforcement was dated 2012, the book. For street index, well, this is 2014, could be 2015. Just a little something. In broken windows, it talks about page 159. Police will need to take the lead acting on behalf of citizens where citizens are unaware of certain problems or the neighborhood is so far out of control that citizens cannot organize on their own behalf. Thank you. You've done that. You've started that process. I recognize it and I appreciate it. Is there a plan? I guess I'm asking, have you formulated a plan? Let me say this, another bullet point. Contact with penny offenders alerts all criminals to the vigilance of the police and give police legitimate access to information about more serious problems. Bill Bratton, who cleaned up New York City, he started with the subway, but then he went out of the subway and into the city himself, had 4 guiding methods of criminal control: accurate and timely intelligence, rapid deployment, effective tactics, relentless follow-up and assessment. That's, for me, relentless follow-up and assessment. All right, let me say this. We live in times of, right now, we have executive action happened, and we got what's going on down there in Mississippi. Let me leave you with this. The citizen who fears the ill-smelling drunk, the rowdy teenager, importuning beggar is not merely expressing distaste for unseemly behavior. They are giving voice to a bit of folk wisdom that happens to be a correct generalization. Serious street crime flourishes where disorderly behavior goes unchecked. So whatever the narrative is, down in Mississippi, an unarmed boy shot, it's a false narrative. There's a lot more to it than that. The street level, what you can see, I live in Maple Leaf, so I know. I also work in a shop where half the people overstayed their visas. They're immigrants. I've worked in several. So I also know that aspect too. And I know that that will bring down the workplace environment because I've seen it and been a part of it. I know these things. I hope you will get down into these trenches with us. Get down there. Put stuff on the new, I ask you to put stuff out, maybe a one-page ad, a rental tip hotline. Even though it's in, you have one, but people don't know it. It's hard to find. If you gotta go to the department. I use it every morning. But a rental tip, engage the people in Maple Leaf and other associations, because it's really coming through the rental properties. But really, thank you. And Jeremiah 22. He judged the cause of the poor and needy, then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith the Lord? This is your assignment, and it's a very serious one. But I thank you for what you've done so far.
May I address Mr. Cancel, Madam President? Briefly,
Yes.
very briefly. You can sit down. You don't have to be up there. This is not in pretense in this situation, and we're not just concerned about Maple Leaf, but we're concerned about all of our communities, because I keep getting phone calls about the crime rate, and you can see what we're doing, and it starts on a ground-based level. It's going to, you're asking about a plan. The plan is ultimately to have ordinances and to have a good working relationship with the management company and our police force to enable us to change the tone of these specific areas, to change how they're viewed. And that's part of changing the culture. We are continuing to work on it. Don't ask me for a specific plan tonight. I can't go one by one with you, but I can tell you the ultimate plan would be to have what we do best, which is ordinances created to stop this from occurring in the future. But thank you for your concern, and thank you for your continued vigilance. And thank you, Mr. Mumolo, for getting back to Mr. Cancel at a point in time when I couldn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member from the public wish to be heard this evening? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Move on to administration comments, please. Who would like to begin?
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you.
We need the 5-minute clock.
Start
I know
the
that
clock.
pace.
I just want to remind everybody, township offices are closed Thursday and Friday of this week for Thanksgiving holiday. However, the garbage and recycling is only delayed by one day. So if your garbage or recycling is Thursday, it will be picked up Friday. If you're Friday, it will be picked up Saturday. DPW staff will be working both Friday and Saturday this week. Upcoming events, December 2nd at 5:30 is our annual tree lighting. December 5th and 7th is Christmas at Havens Farm. It's a $5 charge, and you get to see Christmas up there on Herbertsville Road, what it was like in our history past. December 6th is our Hero Awards. It's a new program that a resident has begun in conjunction with the town and the school. It's at Brick High School that night. It's at 7 o'clock. It's basically an anti-bullying type of ceremony, and people being awarded or rewarded for being against bullying. And I just wanted to kind of have an exciting announcement to make. It's about some of the things that people have expressed interest in seeking in town, or specifically maybe at the Food Town site. And these two things are coming. First, a fitness and wellness center. It's going to be 30,000 square feet. There's going to be cardio machines, rehabilitation services, a babysitting service, swim lessons, a full-service juice bar, on-site physical therapy, and a state-of-the-art aquatic center. And there's the second thing, which is also coming, a 105-room Marriott Residence Inn hotel, which is a chain, national chain, obviously, hotel. And that's coming to Brick, which is going to satisfy a great need, and both of these are not at the Food Town site, because, of course, we're still stuck in this redevelopment agreement, which is hopefully soon to be done. But where they are going is less than 2 miles from the Food Town site, which shows you that that was the perfect site for those types of things. They're both going to be on Route 88. They're going to be, the Fitness and Wellness Center is going to be run by Meridian, which is our hospital here. The Brick Hospital is now a part of the Meridian network, and the 30,000 square foot is going to be a great facility. All families are going to be able to use it. It's going to be for just working out, all the way up to rehab, swimming, a full state-of-the-art aquatic center. It's going to be a very, very great thing for our town. And further, what way is that? West on 88. There's a piece of property, it's 10 acres large, close to the hospital, down, and that's where the Marriott Residence Inn Hotel is going to go. They have an application that's together that's going to be presented to the planning board sometime in the next, probably 2 months, probably sometime in January. It includes the hotel as well as some retail, and so there's 2 things that could have been at the Food Town site. 2 things that residents have wanted. They're going to be less than 2 miles away, which is great for our town. Private interests, private builders coming in. It's not public money, it's not public land. It shows that there definitely was a need for those things. Private people are not going to put money out and spend money if they're not going to be able to make money. And here's 2 great things that are coming to our town, and I'm happy to see our business community expanding. Together with the Buy and Brick program to help the smaller stores and smaller restaurants, and now we have some larger entertainment options, as well as places for our friends and family to stay when they come to visit us here in Brick. So it's 2 great things. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Ladies?
Nothing, thank you.
Councilman Moore?
Yes, thank you. Hotel, pool, Mr. Mayor, awesome. Thank you. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you very much. I know we have a veteran, World War II, you said? Thank you for your service. Also want to mention, over the weekend, we have a phenomenal flag football organization here in town. And we went to Trenton. We played varieties of states. We had Virginia, Ohio, New York City, and a couple other states that attended this fitness over the weekend. Between our boys and girls in town, they did a great job. Tough competition when you start playing other states, especially in flag football. So to our boys and girls in town who competed over the weekend, great job. I was there, and we had a great time. So please keep it up, and spring is not that far away.
We haven't even gotten a winner. Wishful thinking.
Also, I'd like to the council, to the administration, and to our folks, have a very nice Thanksgiving. Please, the weather's supposed to be a little on the rough, so be careful driving out there. And just to finish up, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you. As the mayor mentioned, and as I mentioned before, our Buy and Brick program is definitely taking off. And in the spirit of Small Business Saturday, which is this upcoming Saturday, right after Black Friday, let me let you know some of the locations that we have that are accepting our Buy and Brick cards. Any restaurants and eateries are Come to Mama's, Villa Vittoria, River Rock Restaurant, Coastal Chaos, the Waterfront Restaurant, IHOP, Parkway Pizza and Subs, Azzurro Pizzeria and Italian Grill, and Jovo's Deli. Dry cleaners are Future Dry Cleaners. Automotive is Joe's Service Center and Towing. Home Services, Dash Mechanical Heating and Air Conditioning, Decor to Score, All Pro Carpet Care Inc., Duraplex, and John Paul Builders. Fitness, Yoga, Body Health is, who do we have? Holistic Health Spa. Beauty and Health is Jersey Wave Salon and Salon Milan. And the retail are Black Sheep Thrift Shop, which you went in and bought a couple nice things, right?
Talk about that.
Oh, okay, good. Jersey Shore Marina and Boat Sales, Off the Wall, the Soccer Post, the UPS Store, Blaine's Jewelry Box, in case anybody needs a place to go for Christmas or Hanukkah. River Rock Liquor, and professional services offered in Buy and Brick are Barlow and Associates Architects, Kenneth F. Diana, a dentist, Cedar Bridge Dental Associates, Jersey Shore Eye Care, Shore Points Driving School, and Jane's Elegance Events. So those are our Buy and Brick participants thus far. We're always expanding, and if you are looking to participate, if you're a business, you can come in and talk with the administration or Jen, our council secretary. She'll get you the appropriate paperwork. And if you are still in need of a Buy and Brick card, I know we've given up quite a few. I think we're probably close to 8,000 now, they said. Please come in. They have them at the front circulation desk. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving and everything, we have, as everybody knows, the Black Friday, the local spending Saturday. I also want to remind people about Giving Tuesday. It is kind of a national phenomenon that has come after everybody, gluttons themselves with Thanksgiving and then gets the amazing sales to give back to our community. And some of our nonprofits that we have in our town, we couldn't do half the things and offer half the services that we have without them. And some of them are Visitation Relief Center. They're still helping out our Sandy, those that are still struggling from the effects of Sandy. We have Dottie's House, which have done an amazing work for years, and POAC, Parents of Autistic Children, who really help and have partnered with the township, doing some great projects. I know they were there helping tremendously when we put in the handy-capable playground over at Windward. So I want to thank them and ask people to please donate locally to your nonprofits or any nonprofit on Giving Tuesday. So with that being said, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you. I would like to recognize the Greenbrier 1 veterans and all of our veterans. Thank you very much for your service. Congratulations again to our Students of the Month. It was a pleasure to have them here tonight and to be able to recognize them. To follow up on what the mayor said, I will be attending the Hero Awards Saturday, December 6th at 7 p.m. at Brick High School. That is open to the public. Tickets are $7, which $5 for students and seniors. This is the culmination of a program in Brick High by Inspirited Projects. And I happen to know the young woman who is in charge of this program, and her name is Colleen Finnegan. I'm very proud to know her. She is a Brick High School grad herself and is working to make a difference in her community, so I admire her greatly, and I would encourage folks to support the event. You can email me. I'd be happy to pass on a flyer. I only have one here tonight, but I will get you that information. The Buy and Brick program. One of the things that I love about it is that it gets you to kind of think beyond the stores that you usually frequent. A couple weeks ago, I've had this ongoing frustration with being able to find suits and nice business attire so that I can look appropriate when I sit up here. And so I thought, well, let me go check out Black Chip Thrift Shop. I've been by a couple of times. Well, I got a leather skirt, a black leather trim blazer, and a wool dress for $30, and then I used my Buy and Brick card and got $3 off my property taxes, and I felt like I robbed a bank. So, obviously, if there's a someplace that you frequent and they're not on the list, encourage them to join. We can, call Town Hall. We'll get a packet out to them. I've delivered some to some of my local favorites, but also, if you don't see your pizza place on there, try one that is. It's just. That's the whole point of it, is to get us to try new things and support our local businesses. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe on the roads. And I also will not be here on December 9th. I have a mandatory training in Washington for my job. And so I will join your 4-H club, Ms. Call, and wish everybody a happy. And we'll see you on the 30th. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate the Students of the Month. Keep up the good work. Great job. Last night, the mayor and I attended the Greenbrier 1 Veterans Ceremony. It was a great ceremony, really great turnout. There's 100 veterans, I believe it was, that are living in Greenbrier 1. It was an honor for us to honor them at this, and I'm sure the mayor will back me up on that one. The mayor had to read everybody's names. I got away without doing that, which was a good thing. Mr. Cantel, It was Vice President Bosman that called you, but we know that somebody was getting in touch with you. But thank you for the
Same.
praise, yeah, for thanking me. And the buy and brick card's working out real well. I already have 1% of my taxes for next year saved, and that's about it. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Enjoy.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you. I really want to congratulate the kids who won their awards for tonight. It's so important that we praise and honor our children who are doing the right thing every step of the way. And I was so thrilled to get an opportunity to talk to a few of the kids before the meeting started and to see the hope in their eyes. And one of them actually told me she might want to be an attorney, so I'm going to convince her to intern with me. And I think it'll be a good experience for both her and for I. I am sorry I didn't get a chance to go to the Greenbrier Veterans. I was attending the birth of my younger sister's twin baby girls, who I am happy to announce have made it into the world. Baby A still doesn't have a name. Baby B is named Domenica, and that's where I was last night while she had her C-section. I encourage everyone who wants to give on Giving Tuesday to consider the places that you wouldn't normally consider, like Harbor House, that take in homeless and abused youth. This is a time of year when we do get an influx of children who are from abusive households or who have problems and need a safe haven to go to. So we're always looking for donations for Harbor House. I also made good on my promise that I made on the Italian flag raising day to be the 56th member of UNICO. So I was inducted this past week into UNICO, Italian American organization. I'm very, very, very proud to be a member. They do a lot of great charity work, and they're a bunch of wonderful people. I had a really fabulous time at their event. And I'd encourage anyone who is looking to broaden their perspective to join things like local charity events, local, even the Visitation Church. They need donations this time of year. I put out a phone call to see what they needed, to see what I could drop off. They are in need of everything. Do those things around the holidays and you'll feel so much better and so much blessed for what you have. But with that, I'm going to amaze everyone and say, just happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your week. I'll see you December 9th. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks, Mom, for coming.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to thank the Students of the Month. I know they work hard at achieving that, and also the veterans at Greenbrier 1 for their service. I'd like to thank them. We had a Public Works meeting on November 13th, just to give you a little update on various things that are going on with the recycling. We had a contest at the schools, and Trish Tesoro's the recycling coordinator, and Mr. Campbell, he's the director of Public Works, and myself, Trish Tesoro, and myself went to go judge the contest. We had 7 schools, and they made up billboards on the schools, and each of the billboards were made up of recycling material. And there's quite a few of them, and we went to every school. We finally selected a winner. We're going to have them come down to the council next meeting and do a presentation. Everybody, it was really good. All the projects were really well thought of. We got to meet and speak with the children. They gave us their input on each one and everything they did on it. It was very interesting. Just to let everybody know, one thing on recycling, no plastic bags. That's our biggest problem, is the plastic bags. No plastic bags in the garbage. A little bit on the snow. Mr. Campbell met with all his crew. He had a driver's meeting. He also had the plows checked out and had the plows ready. He also, the salt, we're loaded with salt. We have enough salt, we can't take anymore. And we also have, in our snow fund, we have, give you an average of $600,000 in our snow fund. And I asked Mr. Campbell, I said, how long will that salt last us? We could do approximately 4 storms with that salt that we have right now. So we can pretty well keep up with what we have. That's about all I have. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Geez, tonight I have a lot to say. Everyone keeps it short.
One more thing. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Forgot about that.
I was invited to attend a celebration on the 23rd that I wasn't able to attend. So I do want to say tonight, congratulations to our newest Eagle Scout in our community, Andrew Christensen. Eagle Scouts are part of the Boy Scout community. They may not seem important in the grand scheme of things, but some of these people do some really big projects like rebuilding parks for all of our children to enjoy, just to name one. This Eagle Scout went through his community and hand-painted 86 fire hydrants over on the state streets. This makes their community safer because it lets the fire department be able to see that hydrant immediately, pull right up to it, connect their hose, and put out a fire. So I'm sorry, Andrew, I wasn't able to attend the other day, but congratulations, and I hope that you had a wonderful celebration. You may have seen in the papers, our police department put out a press release about the holidays, and kudos to them, they do a great job every day. But if you go over to certain plazas in Brick, they are just a mess, and I avoid them any way possible. But this press release talks about adding extra police officers to patrol during the holiday season in certain areas of town. They've been very successful in the past to make sure things that we see on the news, people trampling each other to death, craziness that ensues during the shopping season, we don't have those issues in Brick. One, because I don't think our residents do those kinds of things. Maybe they do. I haven't seen it in all the years I've lived here, but also because our police department does a great job monitoring these shopping plazas, making sure incidences don't happen and keep us safe. They put out a few safety tips. I'm going to review a few of them. They seem very general, but they might just trigger in your mind while you're out shopping. Don't carry unnecessary identification, credit cards, social security cards, things like that. God forbid your purse or your wallet is stolen. Don't place your purse or your wallet in the shopping cart. I am guilty of this. And I didn't even think about it until I read this on the press release. Somebody will walk by and snatch it while you're not looking. They can pick your pocket, they'll pick your purse up out of the cart. Don't leave any valuable items left in plain view inside your vehicle. Maybe put all your shopping bags in the trunk. Make sure your vehicles are locked. Stay alert to suspicious people. If you see somebody just milling about, staring and seeing what everybody is doing, maybe tell an employee or tell one of the police officers that are patrolling the plaza. Report that person. If you do have your purse or wallet stolen, of course report your credit card companies, let everyone know that needs to know right away. Thank you very much for those tips. We're talking about charities and, donating. Of course, places like Visitation Relief Center, you've heard from me many times, please donate year-round. It's just not during the holidays that people need food and clothing and basic necessities to survive. Right now, Dottie's House is having a holiday 50-50 super raffle. The grand prize is $10,000. There's only 200 tickets available. The tickets are $100 per ticket. The drawing is December 4th from 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. at their holiday cocktail party. If you'd like more information, I'll leave this with our secretary. You can either call Dottie's House, they're in the telephone book, or you can call our secretary. She can give you the information. Dottie's House is really important in our community, no more so than any other charity or organization. But what Dottie's House does is takes in women that are coming from abusive relationships along with their children, puts them in a very particular 2-year program to help these people get on their feet and to eventually get good jobs and be able to go out on their own to raise their children, and gives them a new sense of purpose coming from a really bad place. Of course, happy holidays to everybody. Hopefully everyone will come to our next meeting. It's so great to have so many people come out. Our next meeting is on December 9th, 7 o'clock this room. And that's all I have for this evening.
Your
Yes.
award.
Oh, geez, this big plaque sitting right next to me. How could I forget?
Do you mind if I do mine first? Because I forgot.
Yes, because you're the mayor, you can go first. And mine's bigger.
You should go last. Because Council President should sum up the meeting. But down at the League of Municipalities, the township received an award for the best special innovative media in the entire state. We were one of 4 towns to get an award during the League Luncheon, which is the main luncheon on Thursday afternoon. And what it was for, a lot of people may not know about it, but I do a radio show every other Tuesday night. Most of them are live. They're call-in shows. You can call in. We haven't had too many callers, but they're at 5 o'clock right now. It was one earlier tonight, and I had as my special guest Christy Winters from the Visitation Relief Center. But the funny thing about this award is we put our website up for an award in our social media. And while they were looking at our website, they came across the radio show. And the radio show, they clicked on that, and then they called Ed Maroney, who's our public information director, and said, "Congratulations, you won the award for the radio show." And at that point, there was only 2 radio shows that we did. And it was obvious that they didn't listen to either one, because the first one, it was Joanne and I, and there were some technical difficulties, and it was very short. And then the second one, I think it was only 15 minutes, and the second one was a call-in show with Glenn Campbell about leaf pickup. And when the callers called in, they were actually the only ones left on the whole show. So Glenn and I were both kicked off of the show, and the caller was on there all by themselves and could say whatever they wanted. And it was a couple days after that show happened that we got this award, or were nominated for the award. We received the plaque on Thursday. So it was obviously the idea, and the idea was Ed Maroney's, so he gets full credit for this award, because it definitely wasn't the content, because if they heard me speaking and bumbling my way through a radio show, it definitely wasn't the content. So it was definitely the idea, so congratulations to Ed Maroney for that idea of having a radio show. And please listen, it's every other Tuesday night, 5 o'clock. It's on, geez, what is the name of it? Blog Radio. blogtalkradio.com. And you can call in. There's a phone number. It's a 347 phone number. But you can call in and interact with, about the guest or other questions. We prefer them about whatever the guest is talking about, but it could be on any topic. So sorry to take up extra time, but I was looking at this plaque and I was like, I really wanted to congratulate Ed Maroney for this award, and I forgot, and I was going to have to do it in 2 weeks. But since you also forgot, then we both forgot. Now it's your turn. Thank you.
Thank you. This award is not mine to present. A few of the people that I was hoping to come was not able to make it this evening. You've heard me talk about Sustainable Brick, formerly known as the Mayor's Advisory Committee of Renewable Energy. We did revise the committee and have a few new goals. One of our goals was to become a sustainable New Jersey member, and we did it, and it did not take us as long as we had planned. We received the 2014 Bronze Award. This actually smells a little funny because it's made out of a specialty tree that they burn, and it's very, very pretty. What this, not the award itself, but what the bronze certification does for our township is open up the doors to many new grant opportunities to make brick better, like our upcoming community garden, like replacing windows and HVAC units here in Town Hall, like maybe having shelters in the future for our DPW trucks and our police vehicles that are run on solar power. Really great things that can put us on the map to move us forward. We have, of course, every member of Sustainable Brick. We have Glenn Campbell from DPW. We have the schools, the Environmental Commission, the Shade Tree Commission. I know I'm leaving people out. Tara Paxton, our Assistant Township Planner, who does a lot of the legwork for us. Michael Feller, our Township Planner, that helps us with our ideas and the development. The Planning Board that helps us, assists us in what projects we're working on at the time. So I just want to thank everybody, and I'm speaking with the mayor to have a really great place to hang this in the hallway so everyone can come and visit it. And maybe you have a few ideas of what you think would be a good idea to move our township forward in some of these projects. Maybe there are things that you've read about that we haven't thought of. So you can contact me through the secretary, through my email. You can come to our Sustainable Brick meetings. They are open to the public. And you can get that information on the website as to when we're meeting. So thank you, everyone that was involved, and thank you to the township that supports us in our endeavors through this committee. That being said, that is the end of our meeting. Can I have a motion and second to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.